small facts about me, because I think then it may be relevant to know me more. And yeah, maybe you can write in the comments what you would like as a 1,000 subs video, but of course that's for the future. Anyway, without further ado, let's hop into today's scary stories. I have three stories, if I'm remembering correctly, and the first one is called The Cow Graveyard. So let's get spooked together. The cow graveyard. My friend and I were connected at the hip. If she was at her house, I was at her house. If I was at my house, that meant she was at my house. This happened during the COVID lockdowns. Before I get into the creepy part, I have to explain what the cow graveyard is. So, she lived in a neighborhood right outside of a small town. The houses were probably spaced at least a few hundred feet apart. There was this old man-made stream that had been dried out for quite some time. We called the area the wash. Well, in the wash, there used to be a lot of cow bones, from at least 10 dead cows. The bones were clean and old. No skin or hide on them. I like the cow graveyard because I liked to collect bones of animals that had already passed. Okay. Well, one night while we were at her house and we had been going through a difficult time, we had gotten this feeling. We felt like we weren't real. It's hard to explain. Like we were in a dream, but also not. It had happened to us a few times before, and I always told her that if she felt like that, she should go outside to look at the stars, because in my dreams the sky looks like a painting, not real. So we decided to take a walk and smoke some devil's lettuce. We had to do it outside because we couldn't get caught by our dad. We were teens. Sometimes I forget how long COVID lockdown was ago, but okay, let's go. Once outside, I decided I wanted to walk to the wash. The cow graveyard is at the entrance of the wash. She agrees, and we start lazily walking there, taking our time and having I don't know if I can say it, but well, I'm just reading it. Fueled conversations about the universe and our purposes. Once we were halfway to the wash, we see something. We're maybe half a football field's length away, and at first we tried to be rational about it. It looked like an animal digging in the cow graveyard. There was one small issue. It did not look like any kind of animal we had ever seen, and it was twice the size of a damn bear. Once we realized that there is no way that thing could be a dog, we go silent for a good 30 seconds. We felt stuck, like we couldn't run if we wanted to do, and the feeling of us not being real came back tenfold. Finally, she breaks the silence. She whisper yells, "Dude, what the F is that thing?" And all I had to say was, "I have no effing 7 to 8 feet in the air. At this point, she is crying and shaking, begging to go home. I, on the other hand, am not surviving a horror movie, and I tell her I want to get closer. I want to see what the F this thing is. She's begging me not to walk closer to it. I told her she could go home, but I was going to see what it was. After a bit of arguing, we made the agreement that I can yell at it, and if it doesn't look at us, we can get closer. So I take a deep, shaky breath, and I shout at it. And if it doesn't look, and I shout at it. The moment I do this, its head snaps in my direction. At this point, it is pitch black outside, besides a few distant house lights and my phone flashlight. I swear to you, its eyes were glowing yellow. The moment I locked eyes with whatever effing hell-spawn cow spirit thing that was, my friend was crying, and we were running to her house. We sneak into her bedroom through the window and close the blinds. We did not sleep that night, and we had maybe a 5-minute conversation about what we thought it looked like. The next day, probably 11 a.m., we walked to the wash. Every single cow bone gone. The bones of at least 10 cows dug up and gone. The dirt was piled back, and there was no tracks or footprints in the dirt. No sign anyone was there at all. I can't even look at cows the same anymore. So guys, what do you think? First of all, rude that the cows are catching strays for that beast that dug up the cow bones. I mean, it certainly wasn't the cow digging up the bones, was it? They have been disturbed enough in their death, to be honest. But yeah, I mean, I love these kind of stories where, especially when they are about cryptids or actual 3D tangible beings. I have always been more interested in those type of supernatural phenomena, like Bigfoot and stuff like that. But you know, I mean, the usage of substances while seeing such things is not really helping the credibility or the whole talk of being or not being real. It's an interesting story though, because yeah, I mean, they saw what they saw, right? Let me know in the comments below if you have ever encountered anything similar, or if you would also be crying, running home, or investigating, because I would be the one crying, running home. Okay. Moving on to the second story. Okay, it is called "A White Figure Keeps Chasing Me," and let's get into it. There is a white figure chasing me since I was little. I always have this thing on my mind. I'm a big fan of those videos on YouTube talking about these scary stories. Guys, a potential sub. And I thought I should share my longest and somewhat still ongoing experience. For background, my earliest memory of this happening wasn't even mine. It was my brother's, who told me about it. Basically, when I was around 6 or 7, My brothers went on a sleepover to my cousins without me. Now I'm not sure if this person means their brothers or their brother. I'm just gonna read it the way it stands there. Basically, when I was around 6 or 7, my brothers went on a sleepover to my cousins without me. I was a loner for all my life. I didn't care if my brothers did that kind of stuff without me. Not that it matters to the story though. Anyway, they came back from the sleepover and they told me, also it's brothers, okay, on how they saw a tall, skinny, and uncanny, faceless white thing watching them from outside when they were trying to sleep. My cousin's house is very haunted, from what I heard. There's a lot of stories I could go over in that house. Anyway, they told me about it. That's my earliest experience from what I remember. Ever since they told me that story, it has been in our lives. My first encounter with it was when I was 8, and I lived in this trailer park. The living room had long videos on the side showing the neighborhood inside our living room. Maybe me and my brother were planning to sleep in the living room that day. My brother was on the TV playing a game while I was on my laptop at the time. I looked up and saw the white thing perfectly matched my brother's description. However, when I actually averted my eyes to look at it properly, it was gone. I told my brother, and he immediately believed me, not questioning me. Since then, this thing has been following me since. However, it started to chase me every time I've been seeing it now. I don't know what it's like to my brothers who know of it. I haven't really came around to question them about it, but every time I see a glimpse of it, I see it running towards me, but it vanishes before I fully see it. Eventually, I moved out of the country. I lived in all my life due to financial problems. This country, I never saw it. In this country, I never saw it. In fact, I completely forgot about it. It actually, until I moved back to the country I was born in. However, I've only seen it once or twice. It's still running, though. It has gotten further away instead. It's still running, though it has gotten further away instead. The scariest encounter is when I was on the couch in the living room, and an overwhelming feeling of being watched washed over me. I looked to where it was coming from, and it was up the stairs, peeking at me, staring at me. It wasn't running, it wasn't fully showing itself, but I saw it. Then it averted its head out of view. I haven't seen it since. More background info. I come from a family that has always dealt with paranormal. My auntie has a haunted doll collection. My brothers have their own weird incidences, but I really don't know. I am 51. it's just this one. Just this one is the longest one that has followed me everywhere, besides when I left the country for a year. But the way just writing this or even thinking of it causes an overwhelming feeling of being watched, a feeling of anxiousness, and it causes me to have headaches too. Thank you for reading. I'd love to get some feedback on this. Thank you. Okay, so I've heard about white doll figures that stalk you. Faceless ones, I can't remember what they are called. I've seen some stories about it. It sounds like it's one of those things to me, if it really happened. I mean, like I said, I believe in the paranormal. I always have. Now, especially in ghosts and stuff like that, I don't know if I necessarily believe, even though cryptids are my favorites, or like the mimic stories and everything, or wendigos and all sorts of like I said, actual creatures like that you can physically see in the woods have always been my favorites, yet I feel like I'm still skeptical about their existence. Yeah, well, but it sounds like one of those things. Maybe some of you know what they're called, because I completely forgot. But yeah, very scary. I hate feeling being watched, like even if it's people, or even if you're home alone and you have this like feeling of like, you know, shivers, like somebody's behind you or whatever. I hate that feeling. I really don't like it. Okay, let's move on to the third and last story. I don't know if it's a long one. No, it's not that long. Okay. Let's hop into it. My dad and aunt. Okay, this story is called My Dad and Aunt Had a Really Weird Experience as kids, and no one can explain it. Let's see if one of y'all can explain it. Okay. First of all, sorry for my English. It is not my first language. I grew up in a very religious family. My grandfather on my dad's side was a pastor, so nobody in my family believes in aliens, ghosts, or anything paranormal. That said, my dad and aunt have a story that no one has ever been able to explain. According to my dad, in 1978, when he was about 6 years old, and my aunt was there, was 3, they were alone in the living room one afternoon while my grandmother was in the backyard washing clothes. Suddenly, my aunt saw something through the window and screamed. My dad looked and saw something that looked like a man in the garden. My dad was lying on the couch and realized he couldn't move. My aunt was also terrified and unable to move. My dad describes the feeling as if he was floating. The thing started getting closer by jumping. It jumped over the wall, then over the gate, and then over the low wall of the porch, ending up right in front of the house. Both of them felt like the man was speaking directly inside their heads, but neither of them remember what was said. When it reached the window, it jumped high onto the roof. Only then were they able to move again. outside and saw the men standing on the roof, looking at them, still speaking something they don't remember. Then it seemed to slide backward and suddenly disappeared. The whole thing lasted maybe 2 or 3 minutes. After it vanished, my aunt started crying and had even wet herself from fear. My dad ran to get my grandmother, but she said she hadn't seen anything. When my grandmother asked my aunt what had happened, my aunt said she had seen God. According to my dad, it was a humanoid being, short and thin, with a head that was too big for its body. It had very large eyes, about the size of saucers, with pupils and no eyelids. It had holes where the nose should be, and a mouth with no lips. It was wearing a tight suit that went all the way up to its neck, kind of like a diving suit, metallic and purple, and skin tone was almost the same as the suit. My dad is colorblind, so he isn't sure about the color, but he is 100% certain it was not green or gray. During the entire experience, there was a constant sound that both my dad and my aunt described as a deep buzzing, like cicadas. When the beings spoke, they felt a copper taste in their mouths. After that day, my dad says there were other moments in his life when he felt like he was floating again, but without seeing the being. Of course, my grandfather said they were just imagining things, and the family brushed it off. But something clearly happened that day, and it has never been explained. Interestingly, around that time, there was an official investigation happening here in Brazil into UFO sightings, known as Operação Prato. Does anyone have any idea what this could have been? Well, Mr. I hate to break it to you, but I think I do. The aliens. Like, do you have present like the meme with the dude of this like TV show that's like aliens? That's very niche. I hope I didn't make a fool out of myself just now, but yeah, aliens. I mean, we probably know by now that we are not the only living beings in this universe. I mean, the universe is infinite, so with everything we know today, it could just very well be aliens, extraterrestrials. To not be derogatory, I guess. Well, what do you guys think it was? Do you think it could be extraterrestrial visits? Or maybe some other cryptid or humanoid figure? Well, let me know. That's it for today, actually. I hope you were able to relax, and got a little bit the chills. And I just wanted to say again, thank you for all the support, the comments and everything. It really helps me out to have this little dream of a YouTube channel going, and I appreciate every single one of you. Silent watcher or not, I really hope that I can make your day better or your night better. So yeah, thank you. see you very, very soon.